If your body doesn't feel like it used to, if your erections aren't as strong, if you're always tired no matter how much you sleep, or if you've quietly started pulling away from intimacy, not because you want to, but because your body just doesn't seem to cooperate anymore, I want you to listen closely, because I promise you, what you're going through is more common than you think. And more importantly, it may not be about age at all. I'm Dr. Maya Kapoor. For over 3 decades, I've worked with men just like you, men over 60 who spent their lives working hard, raising families, showing up for others, only to find themselves wondering, why don't I feel like myself anymore? I've had those conversations in quiet exam rooms, across kitchen tables, and even in tearful phone calls from patients who felt like they were slipping away, piece by piece. They thought maybe this was just what getting older felt like. But let me tell you something I've learned from thousands of hours sitting with those men. Often, the problem isn't aging. It's something simpler, something fixable, a quiet deficiency, your body's way of whispering that it's missing 3 essential vitamins that used to be in good supply when you were younger. These aren't exotic hormones or expensive injections. They're basic foundational nutrients your body depends on to regulate blood flow, generate energy, and maintain the hormones that drive desire, performance, and emotional vitality. And when they drop too low, as they often do with age, your body starts dimming the lights, one switch at a time. But here's the hopeful part. You can bring those lights back on, not with a magic pill or an overnight fix, but with simple, powerful changes that reconnect you to the strength and confidence you may have thought were gone for good. And I want you to know, you're not alone in this. I've walked this path with countless men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, and I've seen what happens when we stop accepting decline as inevitable and start giving the body what it quietly needs to thrive again. You see, most doctors won't talk to you about this. They'll run your blood work, tell you you're fine, or offer you a prescription without looking at the deeper picture. But the truth is, many older men don't lack desire. They lack circulation. They lack stamina. They lack hormonal rhythm. And all of that, your blood flow, your energy, your drive, is deeply connected to these 3 specific vitamins. I'm going to walk you through each one today. I'll explain what they do, how they affect everything, from your erections to your mood, to your ability to simply enjoy life. And most importantly, I'll show you how to get them back naturally, safely, and in a way that fits into your everyday routine without stress or shame. Now, before we dive into the details, I want you to do something simple. Take a breath. Know that nothing you're feeling is a failure. It's not a weakness. It's not your fault. And it's certainly not too late. I want you to feel something that's been missing from too many conversations around men's health for too long. Hope. You're still here, still strong, still capable, and with the right support, your body can surprise you in all the best ways. So stay with me, because in just a few moments, we're going to talk about the first vitamin, the one that could be the single most overlooked key to restoring your blood flow, your confidence, and your sense of being alive again. I still remember sitting across from Edward, a 67-year-old man with silver hair, kind eyes, and a quiet sadness in his voice. "Dr. Kapoor," he said, "I still love my wife. I still want to be close to her, but my body just won't respond anymore." There was no anger in his words, just confusion, frustration, grief. And I've heard that same feeling echoed in the voices of so many men who feel the desire but not the drive, men who are tired of being told it's just aging, when deep down, Something doesn't feel right. With Edward, as with so many others, we didn't start with pills. We started with the sun, or rather, what it gives us, vitamin D. You've probably heard it called the sunshine vitamin, and for good reason. Your body makes it naturally when your skin is exposed to sunlight. When you were younger, spending time outside probably gave you all the vitamin D you needed without even thinking about it. But as we age, two things happen. First, we tend to spend less time outdoors. And second, our skin becomes less efficient at converting sunlight into the vitamin our body needs. The result? A slow, steady drop in circulation, a foggy kind of fatigue, a body that no longer responds the way it used to. But here's the part most men never hear. Vitamin D isn't just about bones or mood. It plays a direct, powerful role in blood flow, especially in the places that define your masculinity. It helps your blood vessels open up, stay flexible, and deliver rich oxygen to every part of your body, including your heart, your brain, and yes, your penis. When vitamin D is low, your body produces less nitric oxide, a critical molecule for achieving and maintaining an erection. Without it, everything slows down. Energy fades, intimacy becomes harder, not because you've lost interest, but because the body no longer has the tools to follow through. What breaks my heart is how many good men like Edward, who take care of themselves, eat well, stay active, still find themselves wondering why they feel so disconnected. The answer is often right there, hiding in their lab work, quietly overlooked. Over 40% of older adults are deficient in vitamin D, and many don't even realize it. But the good news is that the fix is simple, gentle, and surprisingly effective. Just 15 to 20 minutes of sunlight in the morning, a little more salmon or tuna in your meals, a glass of fortified milk, or a high-quality D3 supplement if the weather doesn't cooperate. These aren't drastic changes. They're tiny shifts that can yield powerful results. I've seen men who could barely walk around the block suddenly feel clearer, lighter, more themselves, just from restoring a single missing nutrient. This isn't wishful thinking, it's chemistry. And it's a reminder that even after 60, your body is still capable of healing, strengthening, and responding. Vitamin D is often the first light switch we turn back on, and once circulation is flowing again, it sets the stage for the next part of your vitality, energy. Because let's face it, even if your blood is moving well, you still need fuel to carry it. You need the drive to get out of bed, to move, to live, to love. That's where we're headed next. And if you've ever felt tired for no reason, if you've ever wondered where your spark went, this next vitamin might be exactly what your body's been asking for. A few years ago, I met Malcolm, a 72-year-old retired firefighter. He had that sturdy, no-nonsense air about him, broad shoulders, quiet strength, but I could see the weariness in his posture. As he sat down in my office, he sighed and said, "Doc, I sleep 8 hours. I eat real meals, but it feels like I'm dragging myself through every day. My brain's in a fog, my body's tired, and when it's time to be close with my wife, I just don't have it in me anymore." He wasn't looking for sympathy, he was looking for answers. And I could tell this wasn't just physical exhaustion. It was the slow erosion of his spark, of that fire that once fueled him in ways big and small. What Malcolm was describing was something I see almost every day, classic vitamin B12 deficiency. Vitamin B12 is like the engine oil in your body. You can fill your tank with the best fuel, get enough rest, eat your greens, but without B12, nothing runs right. Your body can't convert food into usable energy. Your brain can't think clearly. Your muscles can't perform. And your intimacy? It suffers, not from lack of love or interest, but from a simple shortage of cellular power. What makes this so frustrating is that many men like Malcolm do all the right things. They eat meat, they drink milk, they get their blood checked, and still they feel like shadows of the men they used to be. That's because as we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing B12 from food. Even if you're eating eggs or dairy, it might not be getting where it needs to go. B12 also plays a vital role in creating red blood cells, the very cells that carry oxygen to your brain, your heart, and your sexual organs. When those cells are lacking, everything slows. Your thoughts feel muddy. Your stamina fades. You may find yourself withdrawing from the people and activities you used to love, not because you want to, but because you simply don't have the strength to show up the way you used to. It's like watching a dimmer switch turn slowly lower each month until one day you wake up and realize the room is dark. But it doesn't have to stay that way. For Malcolm, the change started with a simple supplement, methylcobalamin, the active form of B12 that older bodies can absorb more easily. We also added a few B12-rich foods to his diet, some sardines, a few fortified cereals, and within a couple of weeks, things began to shift. His mind felt clearer. His afternoons no longer ended in naps on the couch. He felt more present with his grandchildren. And when he spoke of his wife, there was a smile again, a quiet return of desire, of connection, of life. This isn't magic, it's biology, and it's one of the most overlooked causes of low energy and low performance in older men. If you've been feeling worn down, if your mornings feel heavy and your evenings are a blur, your body may not be failing, it may just be running on empty. B12 is the fuel. It doesn't just give you the power to move, it gives you the drive to feel, to connect, to live. And once that engine starts running again, there's still one more key piece we need, something that protects all of these systems from the inside out. Circulation and energy are vital, but without protection, they're easily lost. That's where we're headed next. And this next vitamin, it just might be the quiet defender your body's been waiting for. I'll never forget the day Kenneth walked into my clinic. He was 70, a retired pilot, the kind of man who had lived a disciplined life, structured, responsible, attentive to his health. He ate well, stayed active, and took his morning walks without fail. But that day, he looked defeated. "Dr. Kapoor," he said, his voice quiet, "I'm doing everything right, but lately, I just don't feel like myself. My drive is low, I don't bounce back like I used to, and I feel flat, like I'm here, but something essential is missing." His words landed heavily because they weren't just about sex. They were about identity, confidence, that grounded sense of self that so many men start to lose, not because they've given up, but because their bodies have started to change in ways no one ever warned them about. What Kenneth didn't know, and what most men aren't told, is that one of the silent yet powerful allies in male health is vitamin E. Not the kind you take just for skin or eyesight. I'm talking about its real power, protecting your heart, your hormones, your blood vessels, and yes, your ability to feel like a man. You see, vitamin E is a potent antioxidant. That means it fights off the quiet inflammation and cellular damage that build up over time. This inflammation, most of it invisible, gradually narrows your blood vessels, dulls your hormone production, and slows down everything from your circulation to your sense of motivation. It's not a crash, It's a slow fade. One day you feel fine, and the next, you're wondering where that fire went. But what makes vitamin E so important, especially after 60, is its ability to keep your blood vessels soft, flexible, and responsive. Erections aren't just about arousal, they're about blood flow. And when that flow is compromised, performance suffers, even when the desire is still there. But that's only part of the story. Vitamin E also plays a direct role in testosterone production. And after 60, when those levels naturally begin to dip, every bit of support helps. Because low testosterone doesn't just affect the bedroom, it affects your mood, your mental clarity, your resilience. You don't feel broken. You just don't feel like you. And that's something I take seriously, because no man should ever have to lose his sense of self just because his biology shifted quietly in the background. The good news is that replenishing vitamin E is simple and deeply rewarding. Almonds, sunflower seeds, a drizzle of olive oil over your salad, leafy greens like spinach or chard. Or, if your diet needs support, a high-quality natural vitamin E supplement can fill in the gaps. For Kenneth, it was a combination of daily almonds and a supplement we chose together. Within a few months, he came back standing taller. His eyes were brighter. He wasn't trying to be 30 again. He was feeling strong as the man he was now, present, grounded, capable. That's what this is all about, not turning back time, but reclaiming what matters most, the ability to feel sharp, connected, and deeply yourself. And here's something else I want you to hear. When you combine these three vitamins, D, B12, and E, you create something even more powerful than the sum of their parts. A triangle of vitality that supports your body's deepest systems in harmony: blood flow, energy, and hormones. That's exactly where we're going next. Because once you understand how these nutrients work together, you'll see why the results can feel like waking up after years of sleepwalking. Let's talk about that synergy and what it can do for you. Years ago, I had a patient named Gordon. He was 68, a retired high school coach who used to pride himself on staying sharp, both mentally and physically. But over time, things started slipping. He wasn't sleeping as deeply. His workouts didn't leave him feeling energized anymore. And when it came to intimacy, the spark had dulled to a flicker. He came to me after trying one supplement after another, always hoping that one bottle on the shelf might be the answer. "Doc," he said, half laughing, half exasperated, "I feel like I've got a cabinet full of false promises." I told him we were going to try something different, something simpler and far more intentional. Instead of treating each symptom with a separate fix, we were going to support the foundation of his body using 3 key vitamins: vitamin D for circulation, B12 for energy, and vitamin E for protection and hormone support. What happened over the next several weeks still stays with me. Slowly, piece by piece, Gordon came back to life. He wasn't just checking boxes anymore. He was laughing again. He was more present with his wife. He told me one day with a grin, "Dr. Kapoor, I don't know what you did, but I feel like I've got a new engine." And the truth is, I didn't give him anything magical. What I gave him was balance. Because when these 3 vitamins work together, they don't just support isolated systems. They create a ripple effect that lifts the entire body. Vitamin D boosts nitric oxide, helping your blood vessels open up and deliver oxygen-rich blood where it's needed most. That's your circulation. B12 increases red blood cell production, helping that oxygen travel farther and more efficiently. That's your energy. And vitamin E keeps those vessels flexible, supports testosterone production, and protects everything from oxidative stress. That's your hormonal strength and cellular defense. Each vitamin has its job, but together they create what I call the vitality triangle. It's like having three teammates working in sync, lifting, restoring, and protecting your ability to feel strong, connected, and fully alive. This synergy becomes even more important after 60. Your body doesn't recover the way it used to. Nutrient absorption slows down, inflammation quietly builds up, stress, diet, and even medications can throw off your internal rhythm. And when just one part of that system starts to falter, the whole thing can feel off. But when you support all three, circulation, energy, and hormones, you give your body a chance to remember what it felt like to be fully supported, to move through the day without dragging, to feel clear-headed, to respond with ease when it matters most, physically, emotionally, intimately. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about restoring dignity. It's about showing your body you haven't given up on it. And more than that, it's about proving to yourself that vitality isn't gone. It's just been waiting for the right invitation to return. I've seen this happen in man after man, once they stop treating their symptoms in isolation and start rebuilding from the inside out. But, and this is important, none of this works if you fall into the most common trap I see in older men. It's something that quietly cancels out all the progress you're trying to make. And if you're not careful, you might be doing it too. That's what we need to talk about next. Because knowing what to take is only half the story. The other half is knowing how to take it right. One morning, Leon came into my office carrying a plastic grocery bag. He was 74, sharp, thoughtful, one of those men who reads every label and does his homework. He set the bag down gently on my desk, pulled out bottle after bottle of supplements, and said, "Dr. Kapoor, I've been taking all of these for months, and I still feel tired. My thinking's foggy, and nothing's improving down there." He looked at me, and I could feel the frustration in his voice, like he had been trying so hard to do everything right, and yet nothing was changing. And I hear that story more often than you'd believe. The mistake Leon was making is the same one I see from so many older men. They assume that just taking vitamins is enough, but it's not that simple. The form, the quality, and the consistency matter more than most people realize. You can buy a dozen bottles from the drugstore, but if they're synthetic, poorly absorbed, or taken irregularly, your body might not be getting anything useful at all. It's like pouring fuel into your car with a clogged filter. You're trying, but nothing moves. Let's take B12, for example. Most generic supplements use a form called cyanocobalamin. It's cheap, but many older bodies can't properly convert it into a usable form. What you need instead is methylcobalamin, the active form your body can absorb right away, especially if your digestion isn't what it used to be. With vitamin D, a lot of men unknowingly buy D2, which is far less effective than D3, especially for supporting blood flow. And vitamin E? Many synthetic versions only provide a partial spectrum of the vitamin, missing the natural balance your body truly needs for hormone support and vascular health. But even if you're taking the right forms, there's still another piece most men miss: consistency. Your body doesn't thrive on once in a while. It thrives on rhythm, rebuilding energy, restoring blood flow, balancing hormones. These are not overnight processes. They require steady, daily input. You can't expect transformation if you're only taking your vitamins every few days, or skipping weeks because you forgot or got discouraged. This isn't about chasing perfection, it's about creating a rhythm your body can rely on, because that's how healing happens. When Leon made those changes, switching to higher quality forms and taking them consistently every day with his meals, everything began to shift. Within a few weeks, he told me his sleep had improved, his focus sharpened, and with a smile that said more than words, he told me he was starting to feel like a man again. That change didn't come from trying harder. It came from doing it right. So, if you've been wondering why your supplements aren't working, or why you feel like you're just spinning your wheels, this may be the moment everything clicks. The truth is, you don't need more pills. You need smarter habits. And now that you know what works and what to avoid, the next step is simple: putting it all together. A daily routine that supports your body without overwhelming it. A rhythm you can actually stick to, something that brings all this knowledge into real life. That's what I want to share with you next. Because information without action won't change your health. But the right plan, that's where everything begins. Let's build yours together. If this spoke to you in any way, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me what resonated. And if you know another man who needs to hear this, please share it with him. We're in this together. Don't forget to subscribe so we can keep walking this journey side by side.